Hello and welcome to The Hill is Always Greener, a show where four friends and a guest have chill discussions about Sonic the Hedgehog to distract themselves from the inevitable passage of time and their own rapidly waning ability to relate to the youth, especially with something as old as today's topic. I'm Rock the Jake.
I'm Cyberlink.
I'm Game Buddy.
I'm Falero. And who's that?
And I am CyberneticPinkeye.
Yay!
Whoa! Yay! I am among strangers here in a strange land.
That is not true, and you know it.
But I mean, you've slowly been converting me, to your credit.
It's an ongoing process.
Yeah, it's work in progress. Well, good discussion, guys.
Yeah. It usually starts like this.
Yeah, what do you know about Sonic?
It's a funny story, actually. So I actually got started by playing the Sonic and Knuckles collection on my dad's old IBM work laptop when I was but a wee lad.
We have talked extensively about that collection.
Yes. And from there, it only went downhill because my initial exposure to 3D Sonic, I would find out, was, according to Luke, the worst possible combination feasible because it was the GameCube ports of Sonic Adventures 1 and 2, the PS2 version of Shadow, and the Wii version of Sonic Unleashed.
Oh, no! Yeah.
Whoa.
You kind of had the deck stacked against you going in.
Little bit. So for the longest time, I was also in the camp of like 3D Sonic equals just by default. But with a little help from our friend here, as well as our mutual friend Nezami VA, I have slowly but surely become more and more of a convert. Through things like Sonic Mania, Generations, the IDW comics, a handful of other things. So yeah, I am all here for this. And a little experience in another field has got me especially excited about the topic of today's episode.
Yes.
But God, isn't it interesting how, like, having people curate a certain Sonic experience for you of good Sonic things can actually turn you around to realizing Sonic is good, actually.
Yeah, funny that.
It's all in how you approach things.
To be fair, Sonic really runs the gamut of quality, and we know that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
is what he
like,
does.
you know, not to let Sega off the hook there, is, you know, some of their most classic 3D games, even though we love to sing the praises of, like, moderns and whatnot, like, come on, shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Play Sonic the Hedgehog, that's what I do.
Yeah.
But the good
Yeah.
ones, if I can help it.
But what can we do if we're not playing Sonic the Hedgehog? How can we get more Sonic goodness in our lives?
Well, there's TV shows, there's comics, there's novelizations.
What if I can't read?
There's candy.
I was going to suggest saucy fanfiction, but...
You going to say you can't eat too?
No, there's the Sonic Curry. That's how you get them.
Oh.
yeah, that's how you get them sick.
Yeah, just get it directly injected into the bloodstream.
Yeah, you can get a lot of things from that Sonic Curry.
It's blue.
No, what you do is you take them to that old abandoned Japanese theme park to the creepy Sonic cutout, and you just scare put the fear of Sonic into them.
Oh my.
Just find the ruins of Sega World, spend the night, hope that you don't get, kidnapped by the Boom Boos or something.
But what I was not so slyly trying to point to was that today we're going to be listening to the Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 soundtracks. We're going to do another listening party.
Woo!
Hell yeah.
I like these.
This is going to be an interesting one because Sonic 1 and 2, fantastic soundtracks composed by Masato Nakamura of Dreams Come True, which is the reason why Sega technically does not own any of the music and has to pay up anytime they want to use it. But in 2011, they released a soundtrack CD that actually has all of Nakamura's original demo tracks for each of the songs. So we're going to be going through each one, listening to the original Mega Drive Genesis version and the original demo version to compare and kind of get better insight into the sound that Nakamura was trying to convey when composing these tracks. I think it's going to be real interesting.
Nice.
Because this is the origin of Sonic's musical identity in a way. Not that it carried through all of Sonic because of those, royalty issues. But isn't it weird? It's like if like Koji Kondo was just like after the first couple of Mario games, just like, nah, pay up, fam. We didn't have the iconic Mario music. But hey, Sonic has survived regardless. But I just like listening back to these. I
want to continue this thought experiment. What if it was Mario is all the same except any instance of the Super Mario Brothers theme is replaced with the Super Mario World theme forever?
Actually, I don't mind that because I really like the Super Mario World theme.
See, I just find it amazing that, like, much like the games themselves, Sonic's soundtrack has gone through multiple eras. Like, obviously, we had the classic era, which we'll be talking about today. We had the infamous butt rock era with, Sonic Adventure and everything that followed that. And now we've entered the Screamo era.
Yeah, we have.
I am living for it.
Sure as heck works for Frontiers.
Yes.
And even then, it's not so cut and dry because there's a lot of like really nice techno and EDM and like Frontiers, or even like Forces introduced a lot of that. So it's a
the nice little piano medleys
identity.
they've been doing since like Unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's another thing I appreciate about it. Honestly, even just looking at it from a symbolic standpoint, like Sonic was absolutely a product of its time when it was first introduced. And I appreciate that as Sonic has changed both in terms of like its scope and general attitude, and let's be honest, all of us, as you mentioned before, finding it more and more difficult to relate to the youths, as it were. The soundtrack has also shifted and changed and in many aspects matured with it.
That is true. But there is always part of me that's like, oh, but I missed in my Sonic.
That's entirely valid.
That seems like as good a point as any to start going through. So I have pulled up the albums, and let's start where it all began with the title screen, starting first with the Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and then the similar but maybe a little bit different Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Okay.
Take us away, DJ 420.
And now Sonic 2.
No sparklies.
Whoa.
Twinklies.
Yeah. I feel like those twinklies are sort of like, for me at least, they are very representative of like that overall classic Sonic feel. Because like, no offense to the original, but just sounds like someone, like the bass player suddenly died.
I'll never forget.
Yep.
He's now the bass player is now just up in the stars with tails, like in Game Gear Sonic 2.
Like, no wonder we haven't seen Mighty for a while.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, poor Mighty.
He's alive now. It's fine.
I do hope it comes through on this episode, but it is hard to overstate like how nice this album sounds. Like this is a bunch of chiptune / video game music, and this is an incredibly high quality album release.
Yeah,
I know I own this. I haven't checked to see if it's streaming anywhere else. I know the physical CD was Japan only, but man, it is so interesting that like, oh yeah, this might be how the artist intended these to be heard. And in fact, I think these are the tracks that are used in Sonic Origins and the remasters in general.
I mean, that also seems to be a recurring theme, by the way, of like a lot of the best music getting like trapped in Japan until like decades later when the rest of the world discovers just how good it was.
Yeah, I know the Japanese music industry as a whole is quite a beast that I am unfamiliar with, other than the fact that, we're talking about that Nakamura like owns all this music, which, I would say from an artist perspective, I'm glad. And so anytime Sega doesn't feature it or does sound-alikes, I'm like, you cheap bastards. But, I'm not going to claim to be like an expert, slightly unrelated, but like the insanity that re-releasing Evangelion on home video with any version of Fly Me to the Moon, like, I think attests to that. But like I said, I don't know jack about nothing except that that seems a little silly.
I've already said my piece back in the Lego Dimensions episode, so I will say nothing more.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I do want to hop in real quick and mention that this album actually is on streaming services. I just checked YouTube Music, and it's titled as Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 soundtrack, and Masato Nakamura is the artist. So it's not under Sega, as far as I can tell. It's under Masato.
Yeah, Sega's weird with, they have re-released a lot of Sonic albums on streaming services, but they do have an interesting habit of crediting the artist as Sega or Sega Sound Team or Sonic Sound Team, and then the actual artist will be listed elsewhere and other notes. In fact, dating the recording, but I went to the gym to have a nice exercise, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put on that first Sonic Rush album, only to find it is not on at least not on Apple Music anymore, and I had to upload my own files, and checking again, like, there is no Sega Sound Team credited on that. It's just, Hideki Naganuma. So I don't know. Sega's weird. Hey, Sega being weird about Sonic music? Oh, my goodness. That's never happened before, but...
I know, right?
It never will again.
Yeah.
Hey, copyright's a weird thing.
We know more than most.
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of which, I know we're mainly just going to be covering Sonic 1 and 2 today, and I'm not sure if there will be like another episode potentially on the soundtracks. Can we take a moment to talk about the whole Michael Jackson Sonic 3 soundtrack thing?
Oh, yeah, we have. Yeah, we have a couple of times.
You mean the Brad Buxer Sonic 3 soundtrack thing?
Yeah.
Might as well be, to be honest, from what I understand it. Like, MJ was involved, but... like, I think it was mostly his sound team that was making music for Sonic 3. Like, the people who wrote his songs.
That clip that I have shared on this show before of Brad Buxer just saying, like, oh no, I did it. I did it all, and showed it to Michael, and he was like, yeah, that sounds great, Brad. Send it to Sega. The end. Mystery solved.
And then they put it on the Mega Drive, and Michael Jackson was like, no, that sounds terrible. Throw it away. Supposedly.
Yeah.
So the story goes.
Yeah. I remember, like, when I first heard about that, when I was just, like, going through the music, when I was first getting into the groove of, oh, no, wait, Sonic is actually good. And I found that little tidbit, and I was like, what in the... I went down so many rabbit holes because there's so much conflicting information out there on the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just...
and now you can never listen to Strangers in Moscow the same way again.
Well, I can't listen to Michael Jackson music the same way again anyway. So
That's true.
Right. I bet the only unsolved mystery is whether or not Sega, like, distanced themselves because of copyright or because of the Troubles, which we cannot go into detail on this show, that's for sure. But yeah, the Sonic 3 music stuff is weird. We definitely will have a Sonic 3 and Knuckles listening party, specifically with the original / beta tracks, the PC MIDI versions, and the current tracks that are available on Origins and whatnot. But
amazing.
For another day.
Yes.
For another day. But for this day, however, let's listen to the demo version of that title screen.
That's some Casio keyboard stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is the midiest MIDI that's ever midied.
I was going to say, there's a bigger brass section in that track alone than Gen 3 of Pokemon.
Yeah, it is very cute though. It definitely stands out to me as like, oh, I think this was intended to be like a jingle that is instantly recognizable, and I think it definitely accomplishes that.
Yep.
It's interesting though that's like this is the first time we've heard that here of the original version, like played on a keyboard, I'm assuming, or some sort of synthesizer. And it's funny to imagine like the more iconic version that came from that by like crushing it down. And it just reminds me of how, like, if you heard, like, speaking of Super Mario World again, have you heard the restored versions of the Super Mario World soundtrack when they got the original samples? And it sounds keyboardy as hell, but it's really interesting.
I feel like was that the another listening party we did? Didn't we talk about that too?
We talked about it during the Sonic Advance episode.
Oh,
Hey,
that's
guess what?
right.
We talk about the same things a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
Just like all Sonic fans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing about it, though, is that, like, I mean, number one, yes, it was a matter of, like, being limited by technology at the time, but also a lot of this has to do with, like, making the most of what you had given those limitations.
Yes.
Like, for example, the whole thing about, like, why, old pixel art nowadays looks so blocky is because it wasn't made for modern monitors. It was for those CRTs where the individual cells sort of blurred things, so things looked more, smooth. It's the same thing with, like, old speakers and stuff when it came to, like, early chip music and stuff. Like, yes, it's going to sound very clicky and primitive nowadays, but for what we had available to us at the time, this was, like, cutting-edge stuff.
You make a really good point. It kind of reminds me of our discussion about, once again, Sonic Advance and how, like, yes, all of the Game Boy Advance games tended to sound a little bit bombastic, but that sounded right coming from that little portable.
Yep.
Speaking of bombastic, though, we do have an extended version of the theme that sounds. I think we played this during our Bible episode, and it's clear that this was planned for something a little bit more dramatic, let's say. So here's the full version of the title theme.
Playing. Tails, stop flying over.
I know, you can just see all the American flags and fireworks going off.
I was gonna say,
Happy
like, this
4th.
is the victory. Like, I was gonna say, I half expected it to break down into the solstice title theme, like, for a second there.
It's, like, we're always saying that Sonic was always meant to be American, and boy, Masato Nakamura knew it. Because listen to that.
Oh, yes.
I know, for real.
Like, again, like, if memory serves, wasn't it, like, in one of the Sonic Bibles I grew up next to, like, a fast food place, and that is
In
dead
Hardy,
to a vat of
Nebraska.
toxic waste?
Yes. That was one of the early Bibles for Sonic.
Well, the other one was, he was the reincarnated soul of a fighter pilot or whatever.
Yeah,
And,
yep.
you hear the jet in the background.
It's an appropriate soundscape, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
God, when I first heard that extended melody, though, I was like, what? There was more to this intended? And suddenly it all kind of made sense to me.
Yeah.
It even comes down to the phrasing of the title, like, theme of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
Like, when I see that, I instantly think of, like, theme of love from Berserk.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're in for something epic here.
I know. Oh man, I can't remember if I've said that before, but I love how so many, and it does tend to be like video game and anime soundtracks. I love that there are multiple series I have experienced where there is just a love theme.
God.
I immediately think of love theme from FF4.
Yeah, I'll say this before I forget. It is super, and I think we also mentioned this last time we talked about Adventures of Sonic, but that this little theme, I think we joked about how it's just off enough, but I mean, that is the theme of Sonic the Hedgehog and Adventures of Sonic, is a riff on Nakamura's theme that's, just different enough combined with, what is it? Hall of the Mountain of King and et cetera, to where,
God.
he didn't pick up the phone or didn't know about it.
Theme of Sonic the Hedgehog for these two games only.
Yeah.
Speaking of these two games, we're going to do what we usually do and get the jingles and stuff out of the way first, since they're all shared between the two. So let's start with the one-up.
Woohoo.
Feels very Rugratsy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Oh,
Man,
no.
talk about a pioneer in synthesizer music.
Maybe it's just because I'm used to the versions from
Sonic 3D.
Sonic 3D, but it still feels a little bit incomplete without the complete synthesized orchestra playing it all at once from the PC version.
I mean, that's just it. Those drums at the end make the difference between like the opening to like 20th Century Fox to "Hang On to Your Diapies, Babies."
Jump to the power-up theme.
Oh no. See, I'm poisoned. Because now I hear Echo the Dolphin. He's a dolphin.
We will never stop having these little references to that other podcast we love.
Nope.
That's from Sonic the Comic the Podcast. Go listen to it.
And now the Sonic 2 version, which is a little bit faster.
Yeah, the tempo is a little bit different.
Yeah, funny that.
I mean, the game was meant to be a bit faster, a bit more streamlined, so it kind of makes sense.
Down to the amount of chemicals they put in his hair.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's much more blue.
That's what the chemical plant zone's for.
Exactly.
Oh, they were making hair gel. Oh boy.
No demo track on that one, sadly. But jumping forward to stage clear.
It always gives you a good feeling.
Oh, whoa. I forgot about this.
Back to the Hoenn region, I guess.
That almost feels a little Sonic CD.
Little bit.
Like just the tone, not actually comparing the level clear.
It's a little warped, in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it is interesting that, because of Nakamura owning the tracks, this was the first level clear, but in my mind, the Sonic 3 level clear theme is the Sonic level clear theme, just because they keep bringing it back.
Yeah. You can't help it, really.
I don't know what it is, but like every time I hear like an updated version of like a chiptune like piece of video game music and they add a brass section, for whatever reason it just rubs me the wrong way, and I don't know why.
Oh, I was about to bring it up. Have you heard what about the level complete in Sonic Adventure 2, which is Sonic 3 but with lots of horns instead?
God.
I know, bringing up unrelated music we're not actually playing right now, but
I mean, again, it's on topic, so it's still valid.
yeah.
I do like this theme, though. As much as the other one has become more iconic due to how much we've heard it and how good it is, to be honest, I like this one.
Yeah.
I like this one because it's more like a chill, like easing out of the level, whereas like the Sonic 3 one I feel like is more bombastic, and also I couldn't even tell you if the game actually does it, but I feel like it holds the last note in Sonic 3 and Sonic Adventure 2, so you can get that tally up and that, cash register cha-ching.
Cha-ching.
You actually make a good point, though, because like Sonic 3 started the whole thing of like, hey, the new act starts right after you're done with the first one. So in a way, having this more sort of bombastic one that sort of leads you into the next act kind of makes sense in a way. And you had the level transitions too. So whereas this is just like the end of the stage, fade to black, come back again. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Suits the games in a way.
Of course, if you don't complete the level and you end up dying, you might hear the continue theme.
Okay, I think this is a good time to point out that this is my first time hearing a lot of the demo stuff, so...
I'm now just like subconsciously drawing comparisons to like the mission failed music from Unleashed. Where everything's just
I was
gets
about to say,
dissonant.
you need to tune up that tiny little saxophone there.
Yeah.
Theme of mocking saxophone.mp3.
Little brown note at the end there.
I mean, this conjures the image of little Tails pulling on Sonic's foot as
it's so
considering.
sad.
I guess Sonic's, he's really considering like, all right, kid, the ball's in your court. Are you gonna keep going?
Sorry, that's really good. But when Griffin said that's really sad, it suddenly brought to mind to me the image of Sonic's not just sitting there waiting impatiently. No, he's dead like Mufasa in The Lion King. And Tails is trying to get up, Sonic, get up!
Dad, you gotta get up!
See, mine was like a funny little fourth wall thing, like, oh no, Tails doesn't get it. It's like, no, we can't just go, buddy. We need, this jackass behind the controller to hit the button. You're like, no, he's dead.
I always just pictured as Sonic having an existential crisis, just staring at his hands a la Shinji at the beginning of End of Eva, just like...
I'm so ring sounded up.
Run away, Tails. Run away and never return.
No. We know Sonic's not scared of the void. You just do a triple boost and get out of it.
Exactly.
That's true.
And if you don't, you get a game over.
I'm interested in the demo because I'm wondering, what is those? Is that like a little xylophone? I love those little high notes.
Yep.
God, see, the thing for me is I can't dissociate this theme from Sonic for Hire.
Oh God.
Oh, extended.
Oh man.
Oh, okay, so those little high notes aren't even there. Never mind.
It is just like
Man, put some funk in the sax there at the end. It's like they got lips from the Muppets to do that version.
Yeah.
Very
That's
sad
interesting.
horns.
There's some pretty big differences in those.
I gotta say, like, for both the original and the demo, I appreciate the fact that they could have made it without that one kick drum hit that like keeps time the whole time, because I feel like not much would be lost without it, but I guess me as a drummer, I appreciate it because it's just an interesting little like extra bit that they didn't have to add, but I like it. It's that extra kick.
Definitely one of those things that if you knew it wasn't there, you would notice right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like how the original is really plinky plonky, and but just like they got brought out like a couple of musicians for this one. I was like, oh, it's over. Just throw something together out there. All right, get out of here.
Yes.
So now we're going to jump forward to the incidentals for Sonic 1, starting with the special stage.
Yep.
God.
The fish waltz.
Good old fish wall.
Oh yes. All 5 or so seconds I got to hear of it when playing.
Oh no.
Directly down
Because
to
I
the
would
goal.
immediately hit the...
Yep.
Oh, the goal! I've got to go there. That
Yeah,
whole
exactly.
thing.
Oh man. I know this. I very much like this song and feel like it fits the special stages for Sonic 1.
Specifically, yeah.
Like, it is interesting that, this is a much more chill theme than basically every other special stage theme to succeed it down the line.
Yeah.
Any bonus stage theme from any other game, I don't think they were doing stuff like this, but I
I was
guess...
gonna say, can you imagine doing Blue Spheres to this?
It would not have been the same.
I'd immediately disassociate trying to do that.
But if we listen to the demo version...
Now we're getting into some Deltarune stuff.
knowing Dreams Come True's oeuvre, like I'm almost expecting like some very powerful like pop vocals to come up over this.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like more of a dance. Like it was a waltz before, but now you just you can imagine this playing in like an OVA of like a I don't know, a big darn it, I usually have words to things, and today I do not. A ballroom, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes.
I don't know what it is about the instrumentation, but it just makes me think of a slowed down, can you feel the sunshine?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, a little bit.
See, and that voice would not be inappropriate at all.
The main synth sounds kind of like Christmassy to me.
Yeah, that little
Yeah.
twinkle. It does sound very Christmassy in this demo.
Yeah.
let's keep an eye out. Let's keep an eye out for some Christmas Eve songs.
Yeah.
As we go move down this soundtrack.
Here on Christmas Island. No, wait, that's not canon anymore.
I mean, here's the thing. Much like Spider-Man, Sonic has also gotten his own messed up popsicle, so he deserves a Christmas album too, Dan.
It's very true. But on the other side of the spectrum, we've got the boss theme.
I'll get you, Sonic.
The universal theme of, oh, damn, here comes that boy.
It is interesting listening to the original Mega Drive version after hearing the advanced version relatively recently.
That's true, yeah.
This one's definitely a lot more ominous than I think some of the subsequent boss themes.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think like many other boss themes took from this, except for actually, I feel like the Eggman theme from like 06 and Unleashed and going forward had this sort of, like, energy to it, but most boss battle music doesn't.
That even makes sense thematically, because here they're still trying to establish Eggman as a character.
Yeah.
And so, if they're gonna be rebooting him, which is, again, as a lot of people know, 06 was meant to be a soft reboot, it would make sense that they would want to draw back to that to sort of, like, bring a new sort of introductory theme and vibe to the character.
Yeah. And I love that new Eggman theme that we've been consistently getting.
One good thing that 06 gave us.
Exactly.
Actually, they gave us a lot of good things, just, in a very
roundabout way.
Yeah, and a questionable package.
It's a weird thing to say, but the 06 Eggman theme I sort of associate as being so closely associated with the character as I associate like the Bowser Armada fleet from Mario 3 with Bowser.
Yeah, I can see that.
It kind of has evolved to that, sure.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think I can't remember if it was fully orchestrated for 06. I know by the time we got to Unleashed and everything after that, like there are definitely some orchestrated versions out there. But yeah. I definitely do. If it's not the which that's just me. I was going to say if it's not the couple of notes from his Sonic X theme, then yeah, it's that Eggman theme from 06.
Yeah, like it's got this weird quality to like the arrangement to where it's like it's not strictly speaking dissonant, but the melodic pattern to it like catches you off guard to where you're just feeling like unease and uncertainty paired with the sort of militaristic percussion going
it's
with
scary.
Yeah.
From a layperson's perspective, yes, that definitely puts it into where it's not out of tune, it just sounds scary. It's discordant. And this original Mega Drive theme, I feel like has that too. It's like, uh-oh, this doesn't sound happy like the Green Hills theme.
Exactly.
And you know what's interesting is Masato Nakamura has stated that when he was composing this, he was thinking like he was composing for a movie, so everything was like a new scene and everything. And that kind of like, that has that sort of vibe to it. Like, here's the big villain. Dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we listen to that demo version,
Imperial Marchy.
yeah,
Those undercurring little notes.
It doesn't quite feel as ominous, but it's still good. It's the instrumentation that throws me up a little bit.
I was gonna say, like, the reason I started laughing was like with the beginning notes, like it just reminded me of like, what did that remind me of? I realized that's the sound of when you open a minivan and you hear the ding.
Oh yeah.
The door being open.
The door alarm.
I think this is definitely serviced well by speeding it up in like the version that we got.
Yeah.
I just my casual listens of this album, I've noticed that the tempos get cranked up for the Mega Drive versions.
I wonder if that was intentional or if it was just a side effect of composing for the Mega Drive chip instead of, these demo tracks.
We know there were tempo issues with Sonic 1 in particular because the PAL version came out a bit slower.
I was about to bring that up.
I was going to say, does that mean that the PAL version is actually the music as it was intended to be heard?
Oh, God.
I could not tell you.
I'm
going to say yes as a British person.
One, we outnumber Falero, and two, we do not have the, I don't know, we just can't open that kettle of fish.
Yeah. I'm not playing everything at, 0.83 speed or whatever. But now it's time to get into the actual stage themes, the real meat of the soundtrack.
Of course.
Let's do it.
And we're starting with one that is obviously very important to this podcast.
Well, hey!
That's Banjo-Kazooie.
The theme song of Sonic fans getting annoyed again because it came back.
I was gonna say, like, are we all in agreement here that Green Hill Zone, like, not the theme because it's a bop, but as a concept, just needs to go away for a few games?
I wouldn't mind it not showing up in a few games, but I do like Green Hill, so I'm biased.
Yeah, because that's just it. I feel like, at least from what I have gathered, like the near universal consensus seems to be like, oh, I got a new Sonic game. What's the first? Oh, Green Hill Zone again. Okay.
I feel like we kind of hashed this out, and when we really sat down and thought about it, that Green Hill, that's a recent thing.
Since Generations, I think.
Yeah.
If you
Since they made these new assets and they haven't stopped using them since.
And if you don't count stuff like Advance 3 has, it's Neo Green Hill Zone. That it's more of a recent, it's a Generations phenomenon. And then, I mean, like Falero said, part of it probably is like, hey, we got this level we built. Even Frontiers is like, hey, we got these assets.
Yeah, no, you raise a valid point. I do agree that's probably more of a relatively recent thing. He says, I find it hilarious that in that regard, it's almost like Green Hill Zone has become the theme of, like, the death of hope. Like, this is what I imagine was playing in Starline's mind near the end, you know?
It's
either that or the intro to Mean Bean Machine.
Like... Oh, I don't know. I think I'm repeating myself, but I mean, nobody says that about Mario. Like, oh, they did, World 1-1, but then I mean,
yes, they do.
I was going to say, like,
but not
there's a very
not to the level where people are like suicide baiting each other because they're disagreeing. You know what I mean? But then that's because. That's because that, like, whatever arguments you have over, like, new Super Mario Brothers, like, those games might be bland but good, but if all the things you have in a Sonic game is like, oh, it's Green Hill, and it's Sonic Forces, fuck!
I was even gonna say, like, Luke also raised the valve, but you would be surprised how many people froth at the bits once they hear, like, oh, a new Mario game. Let's hear the music to the intro. Bop bop. God damn it.
I mean, to be fair, they recycled stuff for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And as long as games with user-created content exist, we will never be free of World 1-1.
That said, good song.
Good song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's hear what it used to sound like.
Oh yeah, this is the 80s.
God, really? Seriously?
Do a lot of coke and vote for Ronald Reagan.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, that's nice.
I was gonna say, this almost feels like a remix.
I like that it holds onto the main melody a little bit longer with that, like, transitional, like, upward thing right there.
Yeah.
Those strings in the back, I feel like, are much more prominent in this version, and then that reminds me of the Act 2 Generations remix, where those get turned into horns and guitars, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's kind of hard to pick out in the 16-bit version, but I really like it. Again, well, I was about to say, again, this sounds like someone should be singing. I believe there literally is a version of this with lyrics.
There is now.
That was released for the Sonic movies.
You know what this gives me the vibes of? Like, like when you walk into, like, an old arcade and you see, like, Daytona USA or some other, like, actual chair racing game and they're showing, like, demo footage of the cars racing? This sounds like the type of music that would be playing during that demo footage.
Yeah, I could see this in some kind of a tracks mode.
Oh, speaking of the Sonic movies, before I forget, I just learned a tidbit of trivia I did not know, that Masato Nakamura dubbed the dancing Siberian guy in Japanese for the Sonic 2 movie.
Really?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I knew they already contacted him to use Green Hill for both movies, but
Yeah.
dang.
I checked my sources on that, and yep.
That's fantastic.
Sure.
Dang.
Writing Sonic like a movie and then appearing in it. Yes.
You know?
He said, I'll let you use the music, but I have to dub someone.
Yeah.
I gotta be that guy.
Stan Lee who?
Let me be in the most off-putting, awkward music part in the movie.
Yeah, let me be in that part that almost made me think, oh, I don't know about this film, guys. Directly before making me feel like, okay, now it's over, everything's fine again.
Yeah. So that's Green Hill down. Let's do like we do in the original game and slow things down with Marble Zone.
Time to slow down and jump in the lava.
Especially if you're playing the PAL version, because I remember this dragging a little bit, just like the level. But this is an interesting song. I've always thought that. It reminds me of a certain existing song. Whenever I hear it, I'm like, isn't that the Sonic song? And I cannot remember what it's called. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it reminds me of like the sort of like the backing track you'd hear in like a song by The Police or another band from that era.
Interesting, yeah.
I'm actually gonna have to find out this song. I should have done my research before this episode, but it is going to bother me until I find out what this melody reminded me of.
I mean, what reason do we have to behave like professionals at this point?
It's true.
I'm very curious how the demo compares to this version.
Yeah, let's give it a listen.
Well, let's find out. That is not the instrument choice I expected.
I like it though. It's mysterious.
Again, this slaps.
Man, ever since you said that about, he composed it like it was a film, I want to hear someone singing official lyrics over all of these demo versions.
Don't tempt me. For the uninitiated, I was also a professional musician for about 7 years, and I occasionally do song covers, so this is giving me some vibes. Something I might try and mess with.
I like it.
This is really interesting. Like, I'm trying to find the words for something about the vibe it gives me. I can't even place it.
It is that main synth, I think, that's
Yeah.
very,
Yeah. Feels like there's more weight to this synth.
The main synth, like it's prominent enough to be like the main melody and like the hook, but at the same time it's kind of subtle. It doesn't necessarily overshadow the rest of the instruments. I don't know. It's kind of like the pillar of the song that you can see from a distance, but it also matches the rest of the song. If that makes any sense.
pillar, because it's Marble Zone.
Ah, yes.
Also, I found the song, by the way. It was Music to Watch Girls by Andy Williams from a very long time ago.
Holy crap, I'll have to put a sample of that in because you are right.
Whenever I heard this, playing at my nan's place because it's an old song, yeah, it just made me think of Marble Zone. Has someone done a mashup? Someone's got to have done that by now.
I'm sure somebody has done that the same way they've mashed up, Bridge
gosh.
Zone with Janet Jackson or whatever.
Yes, they have.
That
Perfect.
What do you call it? That progression is very similar. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we already mentioned that Sonic is supposed to be just very American in terms of his influence, and I feel like a lot of the music, I mean, a lot of this has been confirmed by the composers as well, but a lot of the music was, I feel, directly inspired by a lot of hits like these, to sort of push the aesthetic of like, yeah, we've got this character and we want to make sure he comes across as like inherently like too cool for school and 90s Americana as possible.
Yeah.
Very, very like mainstream pop at the time. I almost, okay, maybe I'm just showing my musical taste background. I almost thought it kind of sounded like an Amy Grant pop ballad from like the late 80s when she was in her crossover era.
Well, this song is from 1967, so maybe they're going back and I feel like that's more of a thing the early Western Sonic localization was working on. It's like, yeah, music to watch girls by, because Sonic loves looking at those sultry hedgehogettes or whatever it was in the Bible.
Elise would like a word.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's jump forward to Springyard Zone.
Bounce to it. Love it.
That bass, man.
Yeah, this definitely has like a kind of 90s hip hop vibe to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When people say that like New Jack Swing is one of the inspirations for Sonic music, and I think it was only really in Sonic CD, but this sort of track does remind me of that, because, you know, it was that. And I don't know, I feel like we heard a lot of music like this during the 90s. With the hip hop on top of it.
I feel like with the advent of the mascot platformer revolution that was going on following the success of Mario and Sonic and all, I feel like the grand majority of music from those types of games took inspiration from this track, or at least tracks like this one, more than anything else.
I can see that.
I feel like our last few episodes where we've had music playing, we keep coming back to a lot of these Sonic 1 and 2 tracks remind me of the World of Illusion game on the Mega Drive musically, because like you said, I think a lot of other games did take inspiration from these soundtracks.
Plus, I do it every time we listen to this, or at least something like it, in West Philadelphia. Born
Yeah. Most of my days.
Definitely.
in the Spring Yard is where I spend most of my days. Not really. I don't play this one very much because Spring. We talked about it on the Sonic 1 episode. It's one of those ones that's kind of like a casino night, but not as good.
Yeah. Kind of pinball, kind of casino.
I love that the little chimes you can hear in here are the exact same sound that they use for the ring. So you can kind of...
Yeah.
It does create a weird sort of continuity.
This one also loops pretty quick. That's interesting.
But let's see how it sounded in the demo version.
Oh my goodness!
Ooh.
See, now I'm just flashing back to the Goof Troop game with that opening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if I didn't think it sounded like 90s hip hop before, I'd definitely get that vibe now.
Oh man,
Definitely.
I'm hearing Paul Abdul in there. With that-
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Proper bells.
Yeah, I was gonna say those bells remind me specifically. Is there any chance any of you guys played Diddy Kong Racing?
Oh, of course.
I
yes.
Yeah, so then you understand.
Yeah, those bells got some Frosty Village vibes.
Yeah.
Gotta have a Diddy Kong Racing episode. I know it's nothing to do with Sonic, but I just really like that game.
Well, you gotta have me on for that one.
Yeah, fair enough.
God, I've not properly played Diddy Kong Racing in so long. I remember some of that music like the back of my hand.
It's fantastic.
Conker was so innocent back then.
I'm not saying I was very upset to find some of it to change for the DS remake, but I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
it's a shame that they got rid of the racist elephant. Well, even though the elephant himself wasn't racist, just the idea of him and his accent.
Well, I don't know. We didn't know his personal life.
I mean, listen, we don't know what was going on beneath that unfortunate term.
He could have been in the high caste and had some very problematic opinions on wealth redistribution.
Ready?
Hey, this is a nice one.
I'm
Again,
just saying,
loops
everyone
pretty
who wants a
quick.
job has a job. What's the big deal?
God.
Okay, what's next?
Please, bail out.
Making a hard pivot to...
Great A segue.
Making a hard pivot to Labyrinth Zone.
Dunking our faces in cold water.
We did talk about this on a Sonic 1 episode, but way too cheerful for this level, but I love it.
It's the only thing that gets you through this level.
to keep your spirits up while you're going through all of that.
Yep.
Yes.
I love that little bit on the just those little chords at the end of that first bit.
Like, I will admit my bias. I much more prefer Yuzo Koshiro's Labyrinth track from the Game Gear game.
Yeah,
but
because it's more ominous, but this does give it a certain amount. Like, even though the level itself is not fun, it does sort of like infuse it with this sort of bubbly kind of I don't know atmosphere to it that almost makes it worth playing, I guess. So good job there, Masato Nakamura-san. Very, very nice song for what you go through.
yeah.
Credit where credit is due.
As I say, speaking of which, let's listen to what that original version sounded like to get some insight.
That main instrument.
Not what I expected for that lead
I was
sound
gonna
there.
say, they were really loving the brass.
I know like sometimes you have like your mute instruments, but this guy, they're clamping down on that brass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say.
I don't mean this completely negatively. It does sound like a little bit of a chorus of tiny farts.
Yes.
Tiny farts, maybe.
You're not wrong.
In shallow water.
Well, I mean, listen, considering the whole level is covered in rock candy, can you blame it?
Yep.
You were saying, Jake?
I was gonna say, it sounds like they turned brass into a string instrument and they're like plucking it really tightly and bending at the same time.
Exactly. That's what I thought in the Mega Drive version. I was like, oh, this kind of sounds like strings being plucked really hard. I wonder what the demo is. And it's these muted fart horns.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you drag a violin bow across a trombone.
Oh, wow. Now that's an image. But yeah, not really a theme for horrible drowning in a maze.
Not quite.
I know, it depends on who's watching.
That's true.
This one specifically feels like the MS-DOS version.
This feels like it's less the theme of the level and more of like the faces of the long claws just like yucking it up as they watch you drown. It's like, look at this idiot.
The ancient owls.
Exactly.
Hey, we got another one. Look at this loser.
Oh, he's drowning again!
Watch, I'm gonna limit the timing on this bubble so it's extra long. Oh, there he goes.
I like how he turned into Rodney Dangerfield for that one.
Nowhere. I don't get nowhere.
He gets nowhere intake. He gets nowhere intake at all.
All right, well, let's jump forward to Starlight Zone. I have always said that Starlight feels like it would be the credits theme in a different game.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Welcome to the Mall of America. Perfumes to the left.
I was gonna say, like, get on your platform shoes and like get your pompadour for this one.
There is a little bit of Saturday Night Fever in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Strutting across the streets in the city of Starlight.
Yeah.
That's a horn. Although I could be wrong. I've been wrong every time this far. When we get to the demo.
You'll get there eventually.
It's a kazoo.
I love the little ting sound that actually kind of sounds like the spinning sound on the signpost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's charming in the background with a triangle.
Yeah. Can say either that or, yeah, the drummer has the tiny triangle right off to his side.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I do love the drum beat in this track.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Very nice.
This is not what you'd think of, like, for a city level. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe because it is
Yeah.
nighttime, so the whole... I think, like, Masato was told, like, hey, this is called Starlight Zone. It's like, oh, yeah, I can get that.
Sonic was right. This is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you mentioned the drum track, I do like the fact that it really drives through because it's got that 4-on-the-floor kick drum going through it. So, like, it constantly moves. I like it.
Let's try the demo version.
Oh, yeah.
I feel warm inside.
I was gonna say, this is the holiday special.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. This is a
Oh
little
my god,
Christmassy
it's a city
too.
in Christmas time. It's a Yakuza
It
song.
really is.
See, I do like this because thematically, I like Starlight Zone because it's right before Scrap Brain, and it feels like maybe this city was already here, and, Eggman just tossed some robots out. But, it's not that bad. You clear them all out, take a trip downtown, walk the boardwalk.
This reminds me specifically of, those episodes with 90s anime where you'd have the Christmas shopping montage of all the characters going to the different shops and dressing up like Santa and stuff.
The Tenchi Muyo festival special.
I immediately think
pretty
of
much.
Love
Oh God, we don't discuss Love Hina.
Oh, we do.
When Jake's here, we always talk about Love Hina.
Not without getting on a list, we don't.
I think this is the one that listening to all the other ones just feel like, oh, those are interesting different takes on those. This is the first one I feel like this is the complete version of the track I already knew.
Yeah, I feel like the horns are a little stronger in the Mega Drive version, but this is almost 1-to-1. The tempo's the same, the drums are there.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
But let's move on from this one to Scrap Brain Zone.
Uh-oh.
And I love, right out the gate, this sounds very similar to the Eggman boss theme.
Yep.
It does, yeah.
I've always liked that about it.
Yeah.
Kind of a lot of the same things. It's ominous. It's not, not as driving as the Sonic 2 music will be, but it's uh-oh, bad guys. Also, somebody's got a big old drum.
Yeah, I love the big timpani hits in the background.
It's a nice little breakdown.
Yeah, that would be really fun to play on drums.
And it has a sci-fi quality to it.
Yeah.
I could see myself playing that 4 hits on the snare, 4 double bass hits, and then go back and forth. That'd be really fun to play.
It's interesting how the drum beat kind of gets shaken up for this last part here. Just that occasional doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, dun-dun-dun.
I get the image in my head of just the hard-boiled heavies as a marching band going through the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whoever was there with the drum is trying to catch you off guard a little bit,
Exactly.
just like the level itself, I feel like this I associate it because of the anxiety I have playing Scrap Brain Zone, but also something about the level that this music is a little bit chaotic too, and it fits that level.
Yeah.
Hedgehog, welcome to the Scrap Brain Christmas Parade. Here are my Egghead marching band. Dun, dun, dun.
Get a load of this.
Ignore the one with the drum in the background. He's new.
My name's Harry.
Not quite sure what to do with him.
He's doing his best.
Yeah.
Robotic made me carry the heaviest drum.
This is number 246. What are you doing? My best.
I'm having a great time.
All right, let's jump forward to the demo version, see how that sounds.
I like it. Ooh, that bass.
See, now we're getting into wizardy territory.
Yeah.
The spirits will aid you, Sonic.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that bass. I love
With the shovel gloves.
They're yellow.
Yeah.
Well, we finally have some of our own running gags, by the way, and we're not just stealing wholesale from Sonic the Comic, the podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're just stealing from other things we worked on.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love how much more presence that has.
I love that, you listen to this, you're right, it does feel a lot more ethereal and mystical. I feel like if the tracks got put into the game as is without having to rely on the Genesis sound chip, this feels like it would have been perfect in Mystic Cave Zone in Sonic 2.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
That chorusy synth, it reminds me of some Ocarina of Time music. I can't remember which. But.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? When you're an adult Link and you're in the ice caverns?
Oh, yeah.
Or in
I
the
think
Temple
that's
of Time.
Exactly.
Gosh, I can't get over that bass. It's so good.
Well, that's interesting. It's not too different, but there are some elements, definitely some elements missing from the final version.
I think it's a bit tighter. It's definitely tighter in the Mega Drive version, but I still like this.
Yeah, like the drum is definitely still there. It's just not as pronounced.
I was trying to think of what the bass reminded me of, and I was like, at first I was thinking slap, but it's not quite slap. It's more like if you like have a really thick guitar pick and you're just like plucking really hard on the bass drum, the bass guitar. That's what it sounds like to me. Like almost like punk rock style, like really chugging on a bass guitar.
Yeah, I can see that.
Chugga chugga wugga.
Yeah, chugga chugga wugga. Yep. Daily style, chugga chugga wugga. Dentist.
All right, let's jump forward to the final zone for a close.
Don't get squashed.
Again, very similar to the first Eggman theme.
Yep.
There's something about that backing instrument, though. I know this is the bass line. No, it's not the bass line, but that backing instrument that sounds electric, that really fits this level with all the electric sparks coming at you during the final boss.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is one of the tracks where I feel like the sound effects of the level kind of fill in the gaps in the track itself.
Yes, I was about to say, on its own, that electric crackling sound is so, like, harsh and irritating, but blends right in with this music to where it fits right in.
It gives the vibe of like one of the final conflict scenes in a rock opera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
It does loop really early, though, I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I could see this being some sort of backing track for like a Proto Men track.
Ooh, that's a good thought.
Even going back to, like, Queen's, like, Flash Gordon soundtracks. Stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yeah. Let's see how it used to sound.
Once again, Goof Troop. That's all I'm hearing.
It's the
I would
mouse
say
choir.
Goof Troop or the annoying dog from Undertale is shown up.
Oh no! The final boss is Toby.
First he was in Mario, now he's in Sonic.
And he's everywhere. Well, he's in Pokemon now.
Oh, yeah,
but
Pokemon, yeah.
This as well.
Yep.
It really does just sound like a chorus of mice singing in the background.
Yeah, and it seems like it loops even earlier in this version.
It's something about the synth in this one just feels off.
Again, one of the times where the Mega Drive version took what was there and made it a little bit better, to be honest. No offense to Mr. Nakamura-san, but...
Yeah, that is like a less than 30 seconds loop.
It really is kind of fascinating to me how, like, it's been, like, sort of evenly distributed with, like, some of the demo tracks almost being improvements upon the final releases, but then there are ones that are clearly benefiting from the fine-tuning.
Yeah.
That's fascinating to me.
It's a good contrast.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the end of the main levels. So let's hear the All Clear song.
You did it. Hope you planted some flowers. That's all them emeralds are good for in this one.
Try again!
Gotta get that good future.
And the demo version? Basically sounds like the intro, but a little bit longer.
The theme of Sonic the Hedgehog again, just a little less.
You expect that plane to come flying over. What? Too low!
Ooh.
And this time it's someone dying on the synth instead of the bass.
Nice big fart.
Exactly.
Yeah, my thoughts are about the same as they were when we listened to the main theme.
I mean, something chili dogs joke.
And the staff roll. No demo in this one, but that makes sense since it's just a medley of existing stuff.
Just a medley with this nice little intro and end.
Makes you wonder who composed this little bit then. Was that Masato Nakamura or...
Probably.
I would assume so.
just couldn't be bothered to give us the demo. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like folks listening will notice that there's no like Chaos Emerald jingle or Drowning jingle or anything like that, because those were ones that were not composed by Nakamura, which is why we can keep hearing them in future Sonic songs.
Yes, because they were composed by the Sega sound team.
Exactly.
You know, we're all just one big happy family. We don't need individual credits.
We're all one big like amalgamate, like Inside.
We are Legion. Also, funnily enough, like, the way the track started, like, when it was building up before it got to the Sonic theme proper, it sort of reminded me... Does anyone here remember, like, a series of Flash animations called Nightmare City? Where it's, like, just a bunch of anime cats fighting each other?
Oh, wow.
Vaguely.
That really rings a bell when you said anime cats fighting.
The opening to this track, specifically before it got to the Sonic thing, reminded me a lot of, like, the theme in the second animation they did for that. And it just unlocked that latent memory for me.
Add that to the show notes.
Yeah.
Reminds me of my days spending an hour waiting for Flash animations to load on Newgrounds and hoping I didn't stumble across hardcore pornography by mistake.
Well, it was Newgrounds.
Oh, here it is one more time.
Gotta get that comeback.
Oh crap, this is the wrong cartoon.
I don't get it.
shout out to Courtney. Yeah.
But that brings us to the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Still a fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good.
So now, let us move forward to Sonic the Hedgehog 2, starting with some of the incidental tracks. Let's begin with the options menu theme. We will have more in-depth thoughts on this track in particular when we get to the credits.
This is like a military march version of this.
Yeah.
Like, this is like post-credits Star Fox stuff, you know?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, I definitely do get those military vibes like you were saying. I'm curious if the demo version carries that forward. Yes.
Yep.
A little bit. You have signed up to put your bodies on the line for this great cause. Some of you will die. I will see to that.
They are really leaning into the whole Sonic the Fighter pilot thing, I think.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, and also, let's not forget, you're going up against basically a Death Star in this, so...
Yeah.
I love the smell of badniks in the morning.
It's a very nice loop. Like, it's an incredibly short loop, but it's like, I don't know, something about it's like, oh, I can barely tell this is the same phrase over and over again.
It's got some power behind it.
Also, just, bringing up my childhood memories of entering Yuji Naka's birthday to get to the level select.
Yep.
And whatnot.
God. And now I've got the image in my head of like Supersonic flying up to the Death Egg. Hello, boys! I'm back!
Love
And
it.
speaking of Star Fox.
Yep. So let's jump to the special stage.
What a contrast. Man, I think we said it before. It really needs like a legit starter pistol at the end of that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
There's still something spacey about it, something a little like, oh, we're in a weird place, you know?
A bit wobbly, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of Jetsons-y, yeah, the Jetsons theme.
Like, if I didn't know any better, I'd say there was like some theremin mixed in there or something.
Yeah, like that main melody is kind of theremin-y. It's night and day from the Sonic 1 special stage theme. There's so much like more tempo to it.
Jane, his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not even wrong.
How the demo
Boy, oh
compares.
boy.
Well, let's find
Yeah.
out.
I don't
Get
know what
outta
I
here.
expected.
Not that.
Ooh,
Okay, but
okay.
this is good.
Oh, even more spacey.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, that's real
Full.
space.
Space is full.
Now that is a warp of confusion.
He actually got the theremin in there now.
oh my gosh, the bass sounds like Mega Man X.
Oh, you're right. Whoa.
That-
Okay, this hits different.
This really hits different.
The tempo's a little slower, I think, is it? Am I imagining that?
A little bit.
a teeny bit.
This is a really different
yeah, that
vibe.
bass is going nuts.
Dude, yeah, the bass.
Like, this feels like it would be from, like, a racing tournament hosted by the Great Gazoo.
Yes, I was about to say this.
You
is
need
the
10
theme
more
of Little
rings,
Green
Dum-Dum.
Aliens. Whereas the Mega Drive version is like, oh, we're running laps. Like
Yeah.
this isn't, it's the 200 meters.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
That harmony right there keeps throwing me off.
Yeah.
It's not like a complete harmony. There's like a little bit of like to it.
Yeah.
It's almost too warbly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Special Zone, like, because I'm an STC fan, the Special Zone was always a weird, mysterious place to me where, everything was a little bit off and spacey, so kind of fits that vibe.
Yeah, this is definitely what I think of when I hear Warp of Confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you beat all those special stages, you might get Supersonic, which might sound something like this.
The real supersonic theme.
And of course, it starts off with a little bit like the special stage music.
Yeah.
Which I think is
Yeah.
Nice little bit of continuity.
And it feels like the melody is like a takeoff on the main theme, but different notes.
Yeah.
And of course, loops very early, but 'tis the nature of a supersonic theme.
It's true. And
It's
it's
got that sort of ascending motion, if you want me to use a term for that. It's the Sonic theme, but goes up because you're going up and fast and probably going to die soon. If you're playing Supersonic.
This is kind of the theme of, this is not. Wait, it's like I can't control this. Oh my god!
Yep. As for the demo version. Oh.
Boy.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
no.
remember
That's from the beta version, I feel like, because you don't hear that dee-doo quite
Yeah.
as loud
Again,
in the final game.
That's Ultraman running low on power, man.
Yeah, the klaxon alarm. Here
Yeah.
comes Supersonic, take cover. Hey, speaking of STC,
I was about to say.
Warning.
Yeah, that's the theme of like, Sonic's had too much
bit.
chaos energy again. Everyone hide.
His pupils are gone already, but you know the drill.
Like, if you took this and put it in a minor key and kept that little klaxon sound, that would be theme of STC Supersonic.
yes. Oh man,
That's your homework, Chris.
I was about to say we got to keep that in our back pocket for the future.
And I was just thinking that one moment they're talking about it.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
Oh, speaking of differences from the first game,
Yeah.
next one.
Boss theme.
This is the one, man.
This might be my favorite Eggman boss theme.
I love this
I was
one.
gonna say, this holds a special place in my heart.
It's just something about, we talked about it on our Sonic 2 episode, but just the image of here comes this new Eggman vehicle rolling in on these huge tires with this drill, and Eggman airdrops in on a helicopter blade and to this song, and it's like, oh hell yeah, brother, it's Sonic
Yeah.
2.
So much escalation in this track, which I like. It builds
Yeah.
and builds and builds.
And once again, like, in stark contrast with, like, well, not even stark contrast, but it's like a logical progression from the original boss theme, which was very, like, ominous and imposing because we still didn't know much about Eggman at the time. This is very much leaning into we know this guy by now. We know he's pulling up some, like, shenanigans. Let's see what he's got to offer. We're gonna, like, plant him in the ground.
Yeah.
I'm back, baby, round 2.
Eggman's picked up the pace. He's got to do.
Exactly.
He can't sit around.
Let's hear how it was originally designed.
That's some movie music.
Just honking the horn of his Eggmobile.
I feel like I'm squatted down doing a little dance, bouncing back and forth.
Just Eggman doing a Cossack dance.
Yeah.
He's built for it.
That's his Russian background, apparently. He's Robotnik.
How do you think he got that glorious mustache?
He and Zangief doing, hanging out at the bar.
I was gonna see him hanging out with vodka drunk Sensei.
Oh my god. Surely you mean Soda Popinski.
Oh, of course.
No,
They're
only the
distant
arcade
cousins,
version.
Comrade, no one calls me that anymore.
Wink. Sonic, I come back with advanced Russian technology. Oh, it broke.
Yeah, enter witness protection program.
I do think I still like the Mega Drive version better, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was a great like adaptation of it.
Yeah.
This is another one where it's like this laid it out, and then the Mega Drive version was like the full version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're going to mix things up a little. We're going to listen to the two-player level themes, starting with two-player Emerald Hill Zone.
The theme of my sister getting really mad at me for using the tail.
Ready? Go!
This is so reggae.
Yeah, this is
little bit. I mean,
very big reggae vibes.
this is very My Buddy and Me, which makes sense because like this was again the game that introduced Tails, and so
Yeah.
you know, having that sort of theme of like, yeah, we're working together, having a good time, kind of makes sense with what they're trying to achieve here.
This has, like, jaunty stroll down the sidewalk vibes to me.
Yes.
With like super overt animation of like every single step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like full rubber hose.
Yes.
I'm very interested if the demo is like just full on reggae preset on the keyboard.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Now we're getting back into anime.
Pretty close.
Oh, we've...
The beach
I was
episode.
going to say, we've ended up in Monkey Island somehow.
A little bit.
Oh, hey, remember that picture of Eggman and Sonic CD with the Rasta wig?
Oh no. No.
This is just Eggman with like first wave ska.
Gosh.
Bap, bap. Pick it up, pick it up.
The thing about the two-player tracks is there is a lot of people have theorized that these were originally meant for 4 levels, like back when Sonic 2 was going to have a lot of levels and have like time travel and stuff. I forget which one this was assigned to in the beta, and I should have done my research before the episode. But
Start making that a drinking game, Chris.
You don't say that. You go
no.
back and say, listen to our Sonic 2 episode for the details.
Yes.
Sports fans.
probably shouldn't
Just have
say
the
it there either.
asterisk on screen.
Yep.
Shameless plug.
Knuckles passed away in the previous issue.
So, jumping forward to the next one, Casino Night two-player. I always love this one.
I mean, it uses a lot of the same instrumentation of Casino Night, right? Like the final
Yeah.
version. To give it that consistency.
It's got a bit of a more menacing sound to it, though.
Like Tails is starting to get mad that Sonic keeps beating him.
Yeah, like, you know,
Yeah.
Emerald Hill two-player versus one-player is a lot more chill, whereas this one, like, feels a little more aggressive almost. Like, maybe not as fast, but just the overall vibe, I think.
Yeah, I feel like this one like is telling its own story, if that makes any sense.
It's a Casino Night at night. Like, oh no, it's like when everything's closing down, and I think.
It's the Casino Night bouncers coming to throw you out because they caught you counting cards.
Oh man, I was about to say it's the theme of security escorting you out.
Get out of here, Tails.
Oh, here comes Pac-Man.
And to listen to the demo version of that.
Oh,
Planning our big Ocean's 11 heist of the casino.
yeah. But we're listening to this song like the song is playing in the other room.
I love that snare drum.
Yeah, a little bit.
I said it earlier, but like this one really sounds like Paul Abdul, like straight up. Now tell me, do you really wanna?
Is it just me, or am I getting a bit of Carnival Zone vibe?
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, this one, I do know what it was assigned to in the beta version. This was originally going to be Oil Ocean's backtrack, which puts Oil Ocean in a completely different light, because we we mentioned on our Sonic 2 episode, we have that sort of like Middle Eastern vibe about it because of the music, but that might have been for a desert level originally, and this might have been the Oil Ocean Zone music. And I guess I could see it, but, you know, association over all the years, I don't know. It's strange,
I guess that's supposed to be horns or something. And that in the background, that melody does vaguely sound like the little gas canisters, the pipes in Oil Oceans that kind of go thwomp.
See, it reminds me of like an old pipe organ.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm hearing. Not horns. Yeah, the pipe organ.
Pipes.
Yeah,
for oil.
I think that's why it reminds me of Carnival Night Zone.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear it.
Interesting.
Well, speaking of two-player stages where we know where they were used to go, let's jump to two-player Mystic Cave, or as we now know it, Hidden Palace Zone.
Used for both, and most of us associate this with this mean level on the two-player mode, but yeah, it's oft used for Hidden Palace Zone because that's what it was assigned to on the beta version, I think.
And that's what it still is on Origins.
Yep. Origins and the remake.
This could sound like an odd take. This kind of reminds me of some of the fast-running stages from, like, Spyro 1.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can kind of hear that, yeah. Like, this was definitely...
like when you got those long stretches where you need to gallop.
Yeah, I can see it now. Like, this definitely has that prehistoric vibe that fits with Hidden Palace as we would come to know it.
With the little dinosaur badness.
Exactly.
I mean...
This is some caveman-ass music, actually, yeah.
Are you gonna say... Radical Rex who?
Dino Badniks, dude!
Unga Bunga.
I like this one a lot. Well, let's listen to how it originally sounded and see, like, if it is as caveman-y as we think. Yes! Oh my god!
Oh, here we
More
go.
so.
It's Joe and Mac.
Alright, Dino dude!
Careful now, you're gonna get Chris drawing.
I mean...
Fireballs.
You don't need the music to do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this little Joe and Mac. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
One of like 100 like caveman-based games on the
I was gonna say
on the Super Nintendo, specifically on the Nintendo Switch collection.
I'm waiting for Ayla from Chrono Trigger to show up.
I was gonna say, although I think this predates it, that those drums literally sound like you hopped on Yoshi and added the rest of the music.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
It still works for Mystic Cave, but I can't shake that cave fever right now.
Now that I've heard like the original demo track, it's like, oh yeah, no, this was always meant to be a prehistoric level.
That's so fun.
Yeah. And to wrap this little segment up, let's hear the multiplayer results screen. Say it.
I mean,
Classic.
does it need saying?
Sonic's World. I'll say it.
I always thought this sounded a bit melancholy. That opening little, in a fun way. Like, melancholy is usually associated with sadness, but more like a pining nostalgia.
Well,
This sounds
It's consoling the loser multiplayer.
Maybe I'm telling on myself there.
yeah.
I mean, with pining nostalgia, this podcast.
Yeah.
You're not even wrong. I almost get the vibes of like the end credits music to an educational game.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
So yeah,
I know
You
what
collected
you mean.
all the number gems. Great job. Try again at 5th grade level.
Yeah. Here's a list of the 5 people who put this together. This freeware floppy that's in your school.
Gosh.
And let's listen to the demo version of that.
You know, I'm kind of feeling this one a bit more, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
And then come the trumpets, of
Yep.
course.
Oh yeah, what would you call this? A little bit of a salsa?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of thinking of, come on, chick your body, baby, do that.
Oh no, I can't unhear it now.
Yeah, I can definitely hear like some Latin influence there.
I can hear the marimba, and of course, once again, makes me think of caveman music. just the beat.
Marimba was what I was searching for.
Yeah.
You know someone would take this and call this Fiesta Zone back in the day.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the end of our multiplayer segment. So again, let's get into the meat and potatoes with the actual zones, starting with Emerald Hill Zone.
The original.
Here we go.
Green Hill again. But not really.
These green hills are starting to look more like sand hills.
Emerald Hills.
You know, looking back, I remember as a kid, I always liked the Emerald Hill theme better than the Green Hill theme. Like, Green Hill is iconic, but I just like the vibe of this one more.
Yeah.
This is just a good ass track.
Yeah, this one screams summer vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that this is a new island. It's kind of a new Sonic because he looks different. He's more blue. He's got the spin dash. Tails is here.
Yeah, and what I appreciate about this is, like, not only is this a good, like, just overall thematic successor to Green Hill Zone, but you can even hear those, like, elements of the Green Hill melody mixed in there at certain points.
Yeah.
Which I feel like really emphasizes, like, yes, this is the progression. This is what comes next after this. It's an evolution of what you're familiar with, just added to hopefully make things better for you.
Yeah.
Goes without saying, but obviously composed by the same guy. With that in mind, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all the reused songs, there's a lot of reinvention going on in the soundtrack as well. And I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do like the subtle hint, even in the name itself, that, like, oh, emeralds, are those going to be a plot important thing in this game?
Kind of. As much of a plot there is, anyway.
It's called Emerald Hill because you can get all 7 emeralds before you finish the zone if you're good enough.
Ain't that the truth? If you got the skills to pay the bills.
Yep.
Yes.
Speaking of which, let's listen to the demo version of Emerald Hill.
This is the PAL version, apparently.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I mean, it's not bad. It's just the fact that they slow it down just sort of, like, makes me, oh, wait, something's wrong. Oh, no. We're running low on gas.
Looking at it, every single one of the tracks from here on is going to be slowed down compared to the Mega Drive version.
Yeah, just glancing at the run times. I like the little claps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The claps were interesting. I like that slap bass.
This makes it sound like a beach party or something.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that's probably what they were going for with this track. I do think, speeding up, though, was the right option for, the first level is this considerably faster Sonic game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that, like, the tempo change for all these tracks is to their benefit overall.
God, that tambourine, too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just imagining, like, characters playing, like, volleyball at the beach now.
I was going to say, again, beach episode.
Yeah.
Hey, summer forever, new special from
Oh, the end of
AEW.
summer, yeah.
Making a bonfire at sunset.
They played volleyball.
Well, welcome to Sonic's Endless 8.
Oh no, yeah, I did make a little slip up there, didn't I?
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, this is happening. Oh yeah, this is happening. Oh yeah,
Feeling good.
this is
Feeling good.
happening.
Feeling good. Yeah, jumping forward to probably the most iconic track from this game, Chemical Plant Zone.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yep.
Sonic 2 begins here.
Yeah.
Complete with fart bass.
I know, I love a good fart bass.
Absolutely.
Like, before I really got a better sense of music back when I was a kid, this was techno as I knew it.
I was going to say, like,
Yeah.
this is, you know how, like, there are a lot more people these days on YouTube doing, like, metal covers of video game music?
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of the classic Sonic themes that would benefit most from a metal.
I've heard some good metal
Yeah.
covers of this.
Like, get Rashad EP on this, man.
Yeah.
Still one of my favorite Sonic tracks of all time, bar none.
Same.
It goes game's way harder than you expect.
Yeah.
Literally a factory producing
Absolutely.
dangerous chemicals.
Yeah, but it does kind of fit the industrial theme. Or at least like
What we
the...
produce here is sick freaking beats, that's what.
I was just listening to the album Metal Hog by Mega Driver, which is a metal cover of this one. Which that's from, well, I say all the way back, but all the way back in 2008.
Yeah, this is just good ass music, and I love it. And I'm curious to hear the demo version because I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, wow. That is completely different.
A little bit.
I guess it's just the tempo.
The tempo definitely does throw you off.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, this does sound like a factory in action.
Yeah, it's got more of a jazzy
Someone
feel
pulled out
to
a
it.
guitar. Like, you know what this is? This is like the music that plays in the background in the employee like break room at the plant.
Yeah, like this feels like a jazz remix of Chemical Plant almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is going to be played in like a really crappy PA system, and they're all just like, they're all high on the fumes and stuff, and
Yeah. Just the Chemical Plant Zone cantina.
oh, now you mention it.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
It makes that part even worse.
Maybe it is just because I'm so used to the Mega Drive version, but it just doesn't sound as good to my ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
On its own, it's good, but like compared to it,
yeah. And that last part specifically, because like, whenever I heard like that in the original one, I think it's like, oh, this sounds like tires screeching on a fast road or something. It's so cool. Whereas here, it sounds like a blitz siren.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
It's still good, but yeah, this is definitely a case where the sequences for the Mega Drive version just made the right call by speeding us up and God, you can't call it. I just realized when you compared it to like Cantina music, I was like, yeah, this is the best jizz I've ever heard.
I think you mean Jats?
Oh, is that the new one?
Yes,
They
J-A-T-Z.
renamed it.
They're being real coy with it, like
Cowards.
in the description, like, oh, you know, it was reminiscent of classical jats, but it's also known as by other names throughout the galaxy. I'm like, it's jizz.
It's jizz for sure.
There's jizz all over that cantina. And no, I'm not bleeping that.
That I demand that stays in the episode.
You can't run away from your past.
All right, making a hard pivot to Aquatic Ruin before we go down this any further.
Now this is like an old western.
Yeah,
That's all- that's
what it is. Are you sure this wasn't the desert theme?
That's the thing. I've heard people theorize, at least, well, one person theorize that this could have been the desert theme as well. Like, but then again, there was going to be more than one desert level apparently. There's Sand Shower, and then there's like Dust Hill, and like originally we thought, oh, Dust Hill was just the name for like Mystic Cave, but I don't know. There's been a lot of confusion about it, and there may have been more than one. In fact, no. You know what it was? I'm sorry, I'm getting really off track here.
Please.
But at one point, it was believed that Aquatic Ruin Zone might have been like a desert level, because if you look at it without the water and imagine sand there, it looks a little like Desert Palace, I think, from Sonic 3 multiplayer.
Huh.
But it's just a theory. It's just a no, we're not doing that.
No.
I mean, that's just it. It definitely gives me the vibe of like Desert Oasis, regardless of anything else.
Yeah.
Plus the Western vibes makes me think of Mirage Saloon, which
mean-
was used a lot of that Dust Hill, whatever it was, sand shower aesthetic in the game. So, but I think this level still works, because while I don't think Aquatic Ruin is a Western level, It's got that sort. There's a vibe. There's a dangerous vibe to this.
Yeah.
You're not shooting guns or shooting arrows, but close enough.
You're not kidding. I just did a Google search of Aquatic Ruin Zone, and I came up with this thing. It looks like a page from Where's Waldo.
Oh my! Oh,
Whoa.
that is literally from a Where's Sonic.
Yeah.
Because of course they did that during the 90s.
Well, I mean, of course. Look at this fustercluck of badniks.
The show will not continue until we have found Sonic.
Please stand by.
I'm sorry, folks. As the editor here, this is the most poisonous audio content we could possibly do.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
oh,
fairly
there he is.
certain.
I see
Look
him.
forward to our episode where we do nothing but try to find Sonic in the Where's Sonic book.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain this is a British book because that's AOSTH Robotnik there, and we used him all the time during those days for some reason.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to jump forward to the demo version and try and save our editor here.
Of course. My apologies.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely a desert theme.
Okay, I see you.
Wow,
Eastwood
I
the
wonder
Hedgehog.
if the soundtrack from Sonic Mania took some inspiration from this little bit here.
Maybe. Like,
I can see
I just recently played Live Alive, and I could definitely hear this during the Old West chapter.
like this feels like some Gerudo Valley type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, like, just listening to this demo version, this is definitely a desert level track.
It's just we have to guess though, because it's not like they have the information. They've been weirdly guarded about like giving us all the details about like Sonic 2 development. It was only like what, how many years ago? Not too long ago we found out about the whole time travel thing.
Yeah.
And they still haven't told us like what all these tracks actually were assigned to originally. Disrespectful to us nerds.
They want to slow drip out that information to keep interest in the games forever.
Exactly.
Well, it's working! That's why I'm doing a podcast about this. So many unanswered questions.
Chris, you need to spend some of your time, a little more effectively. Like gambling, that's healthy. Speaking of which, Casino Night Zone.
Speaking of which, Genshin Impact. Oh, wait, no.
What's the difference?
Casino night. Gambling.
A lot of people love this one because a lot of people only remember the casino level from Sonic 2.
Gosh.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where I think that the level theme mixed with the music could not be more perfect. Like, this is about as flawless a combination as it gets. And I definitely, maybe it's just because of the Generations Modern mix, which is one of my favorite tracks in that game, but this reads to me as jazz all the way down.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to find out this was like for a, God knows, a winter level or something and be really confused.
I wouldn't be surprised. Also, maybe it's just me, but I remember when I was still, learning about Sonic. I don't know what it was, but it seemed like for the majority of people I knew who weren't into Sonic at the time, the thing they kept poking fun at was, the reuse of, casino-inspired levels in Sonic games. And I don't know why it was these levels specifically that people felt the need to just say, oh, another casino level. There's recurring themes throughout Sonic in its entirety. Why is this one you're picking?
A trope's a trope.
Well, you know why they bring him back? Because it fucking rules, man.
You're not wrong.
I wonder if it's, again, to go back to, is it because the casino level association was just so ubiquitous? Even your average Joe could pick out, oh yeah, the Sonic bouncing around them pinballs. I remember that.
Maybe. I feel like a big part of why they actually keep coming back is that they're so emblematic of the late-stage capitalist aspect of Eggman's character and how he's industrializing everything.
I thought you were going to make a joke there, like Jeremy with his, radical left highway bits, but no, you're absolutely right.
Well, that's just it. The whole point of Eggman Land is that Eggman just unironically loves theme parks, and so sensationalizing a lot of his creations and bases themed around things like casinos makes perfect sense for his character.
Yeah, I think we even got into that, which I know, the comics at the time kind of treated it as, oh, I almost said Casinopolis. No, that Casino Night, Casinopolis are existing structures that Eggman has infiltrated. Casino Night almost is an entire city in the background. people lived there before Eggman started to, drop his little short sword and shield guys to harass you. So yeah, there's like a whole lore in there you could extract.
Yeah, I believe that when we played Murder Sonic the Hedgehog, that straight up said that, like Eggman, every casino chip in the world has Eggman's emblem on it because he's like involved in every bit of like every gambling entrepreneur's work across the planet.
One of his side hustles.
Exactly.
Well, it makes sense. He's a walking, talking micronation with a whole legion of like a walking assembly line at his disposal. Like I keep going back to like specifically I think of like the casino level from Sonic Heroes and just how massive in scale that was, for example. Yeah, and just the extent to which and admittedly I remember like having this idea spurred on by watching certain like review videos and stuff, but just realizing, Eggman is sort of just like a one-man monopoly when you stop and think about it, and just how often we just don't stop and think about that.
I'm stopping to think about it right now, actually.
Exactly.
And thought over, let's go to the demo version. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You like jazz?
This to me speaks more like, underground, like speakeasy rather than big casino.
Yeah.
Like you just pressed a sequence of buttons on the elevator and it went to the secret floor.
Yeah.
Not a copper, are ya?
Gotta check your piece at the door, see?
Sonic and Poker Night at the Inventory 3.
Oh, please, though.
God, if they played this in like one of the casinos in like Underground in Kamurocho, I'd love it.
Oh, man.
See, now that you've mentioned it, Luke, I just got the image in my head of like Mike Pollock like cursing under his breath over a bad hand of cards, but just not daring to raise a stink because Brock Sampson is literally sitting next to him.
Man, if that happened, I would want it specifically to be either version, either character, but the Sonic Boom version of Sonic or Eggman. I feel like would be just the weird pull for a poker night at the Inventory Part 3, which I'm sure will never happen.
See, I'm just trying to think of who would be a good fit for that. Like, oddly enough, just for whatever reason, I just imagined like Hellboy sitting next to like Eggman, and I realized that wouldn't make sense. Except I remembered that on my birthday, there's gonna be a Hellboy game coming out. So
Yeah.
Next episode, working out like a Poker Night at the Inventory involving Sonic characters.
Hell yeah.
Oh, we could go for days. Vector has to win tonight to pay off the Chaotix Detective Agency's massive debts. Yeah, that's some good jazz. But
it is.
Let's jump forward to Hilltop Zone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. There's the twang.
I can't wait to find out what they do for that in the demo version.
I guarantee you it's more trumpets.
Most likely. But for the life of me, it sounds like a harmonica or a kazoo.
Yeah, that's what I get as well from it.
Let's get Kazoo Kid in here. Hey, wait a minute! Who are you?
We got the hillbilly hip hop in here now,
You're not even wrong.
which is modern country.
Bit of a fake organ there in the background, I think.
A little bit. Ooh, put some stank on it.
It's not what you'd expect for like a volcanic level, essentially, but it's funky.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely more kind of downbeat than I think I would have expected.
Definitely.
But it's also like kind of a sunny mountaintop stage. You know, the volcano elements are there. They're just not like the primary theme. So I guess that it kind of fits.
This almost strikes me as like the theme you'd hear in like an early King's Quest level.
Yeah, I could kind of hear that.
Like if you entered like a certain village or a neighborhood that was just like, full of like shady characters or something.
Yeah.
I could see this being the kind of music in the background.
Let's see if the demo version carries over that sort of theming. Now that's some fun.
Okay, so I was wrong. It's not trumpet, it was a horsefly.
It might be a muted trumpet, maybe, but
Don't patronize me, Chris.
I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. But, again, it's early synthesizer stuff. So
Yeah, definitely getting some funk vibes here.
Absolutely.
I mean, so when you slow it down like this.
Yeah, that bass though.
Yeah. I just laughed at first because it sounds funny slowed down at the intro.
Well, so do the rest of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right, there's more brass.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that organ's real good.
Getting into some Little Richard now.
That didn't sound quite even.
And that bass is just all over the place. I love it.
No, I don't know if Masato Nakamura was like, at the time, was like, no, we need to slow down this Sonic game. These are some great little tracks. I'm not sure about the tempo, but it sounds good.
Like, again, I'm not sure if they were perfectly fit for Sonic, but they're still bops.
I mean, they obviously were because they were translated into iconic Sonic songs, but
Fair enough.
yeah, I can see why, like, a demo's a demo. This is one of the tracks that, going back to an earlier conversation, this definitely feels like an early Spyro level to me.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Mystic Cave Zone, some funky underground carnival music.
Now we're straight into, like, Saturday morning cartoon territory. And I love it.
Theme of Chav raccoon dogs.
Oh, you're right. There it is now. Okay, so why do they have the carnival music in this? I'm not sure.
That's a really good question. Is this another case where it was written for something else, or?
Maybe, but I don't know. This sounds sinister. Maybe it's supposed to be like a I don't know, creepy circus.
Yeah, like that one world in Donkey Kong Country 2.
This is menacing but funky. So I've always liked this track.
It's so surreal. I don't necessarily know where the theming came from because it doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't quite fit, underground cavern mine thing. But, and yet,
It does by association now.
This just sounds to me like Scratch and Grounder are having an argument.
yeah.
I'm very interested to what the demo sounds like now.
Let's take a listen.
Hey. What?
Whoa.
Oh, it's spooky.
Oh. Okay, this sounds more like spooky mine music.
Yeah.
Bit.
It's just the whole track is drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, we're dipping into like Grant Kirkhope scary Banjo-Kazooie.
Umidaka.
Now you've pointed out, I can sort of hear that this would fit in the deep cartoon,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You dumb bot! We're down in the Mystic Cave Zone now!
I dig, it's what I do.
Snooping as usual.
I'm glad someone made the reference before me.
I really dig this place. I dig a lot of things.
This is a real bop!
Certified pop.
Yeah, like now that I'm hearing the original demo, I can see the connection to, caves and mines and everything.
Yeah.
It's like every time that one note hits, it just, oh my gosh. I keep getting lost. Every time that note hits, it's got that like slight little raise, like the
This is coconuts after a binger.
Yes.
after a bender render.
There's a ghost infecting the track. Oh, God. Let's jump forward to Oil Ocean, see how that sounds.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's so hard to listen to this now, knowing that it might not have ever been intended for Oil Ocean at all.
Like, it could have been. We don't know for sure. It's
Yeah,
just based on, like, the placement on the beta version of the game and all.
Yeah.
But like, we were saying on the Sonic 2 episode, like, regardless, this colours our perception of the Oil Ocean Zone being Middle Eastern. And I suppose we could all say, like Jeremy said before, it's where all the oil is, right? Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This music
that
definitely
place.
helps settle it, you know?
A little bit.
But it could be, I could see this being a desert level as well,
Yeah.
potentially.
This is another one where I'm really curious to see how the demo sounds, to kind of see if it's along the lines of what we expect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's give it a listen. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
This
If there
is
was
some
any doubt
dry
before,
desert shit right now.
Ooh, I love the aggressive drums.
Yeah.
Watch out, Mario! Mummies!
It's a desert, Luigi. You didn't make it.
Don't eat the sand.
Inexplicably the second time we've referenced that line in this show.
Sorry to derail. That was literally an episode of the Mario 3 cartoon, wasn't it? Where some mummy was like, thought Mario was her son or husband and wanted to wrap him up and go to
It wouldn't surprise me.
There was also an episode of the Super Show where Mario and Elvira fought a mummified Luigi.
Well, okay. It's in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, like this is some real Gobi Desert type shit.
Yeah, I was
little
about
bit.
to say the echo on that in the background.
Like,
I like those horns though.
yeah, like this feels a lot like the Shamar music from Sonic Unleashed. You know, much further down the
You're
line.
not even wrong.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeremy, you brought that up now, and I'm gonna have to see which of those episodes is true, or whether it's both, because I'm gonna have to be like, there's gotta be a bit where Mario, if it is the one where he thinks the mummy thinks that he's his son, he's her son, he's gonna be like, this leaping lasagna, this mommy thinks she's my mommy.
Mama Luigi to you.
I'd bet my bottom dollar that the mummy and the sun one is real, because I had it on a recorded VHS that I watched like 20,000 times as a child.
Glad you all came here. I'm sure everyone came here to listen to our Mario commentary on a Sonic soundtrack.
It is
after April Fool's, so of
Mind
course
Your
they
Mummy Mommy Mario, the third episode of The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3.
Aw, give your mommy a big kiss.
Lady, if you weren't so wrapped up in yourself, you could see I'm not your little boy.
So that was
Yep,
the joke.
yep.
Okay, what's the joke?
Try saying that 5 times fast.
No. But yeah, now we're going to jump forward a little bit to Metropolis Zone.
Oh boy.
My favorite part of this level, the music.
The only thing I like about this level.
Oh, I can't remember if I've said this before. This reminds me a little bit of the driving techno pop ballad at the end of near the end of The Brave Little Toaster.
Oh my god.
Gosh.
Just very, very 80s, very, very cool.
This could be a Powerline song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that too.
You're not wrong.
I love that Genesis twang in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just gonna say this almost kind of reminds me of like, again, like after you like play a round of Mario Kart and they have that default music playing where you see all the racers still going. This feels like something that would be in like the SNES version.
Yeah.
Because once again, it all comes back to Mario, right?
I also really love the use of the record scratch sound. I think that really helps to fill things out.
Yeah.
Not exactly what I thought of, like, Eggman's, like, factory slash city, I guess, but it makes it sound like a lived-in place, you know, like that people are actually hanging out here.
Yeah.
Which is not what I'd imagine for that, but...
No, this is the Amazon branding technique, where Eggman makes it seem like a fun place to work. Come on!
Yeah.
Join our Badnik team.
You don't need a union, we're family.
Oh no.
Yeah, you know I always have your back, Cookie.
They don't call me that anymore, Doctor.
You never, you know where you come from.
I'm jumping forward to the demo version. Oh.
Whoa.
Oh no, Robotnik's walking down the hall.
A little more true to the fact here.
Now, the beta version sounds a bit more like this, I think. A little bit off.
Walk like an Egyptian.
This is like with the curtain lifted, so you can see what's really going on.
More than any other, this is the track that feels like it's being played back in slow motion.
Yes.
Yeah. This theme of third shift getting off. Walking into the bar with no windows.
It sounds like Pilot Wing 64, but also slowed down.
Oh yeah!
Huh.
And there's the record scratch.
Oh, yeah, that record scratch is there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then there's Eggman. He's dead.
Shout out to our boy Brental Floss.
Yeah. It's definitely a different vibe, and like I can see again. Now I can see the factory bit to it.
Yeah, you can hear the pistons going.
It is interesting to like see how many tracks it's like it didn't quite necessarily fit before, but now that I'm hearing it, you know, with the original instrumentation, it all like makes sense now.
Yeah. And this really does sound like a place where Mobians would have to work, even including our boy Cookie, who has changed his name. Nowadays he's called Nibbles the Rooster. Unfortunately, the downside to that is the abbreviation is NTR. Moving on.
Oh my god.
There's no escaping it.
How long have you been sitting on that one?
Pretty much since the end of that last track.
Well, I'd say that egg finally hatched.
Oh no. That's the warning sign.
Yeah, I've been incubating that for a while.
I already love you guys.
Yeah, up until now, you've only been able to like watch us from a distance, like Cookie would
Yes.
in the closet while his girlfriend was.
I'm moving on.
Perhaps Cave Room and Drawing Senpai will notice me now.
Oh no.
I'm moving on.
Blow up.
Sky Chase Zone.
It's so pleasant.
This is like what I feel like, you know, when you look at an inspirational poster and you try and figure out what music would match it.
Yeah.
This is the hang in there, baby.
Yep.
musical
Yeah.
Believe is not a 4-letter word.
Where it was the big black border with like a beautiful picture of like a sunset on a lake.
Yep.
Exactly.
Teamwork.
Synergy.
It's interesting to have this for like, you know, I always like, we talked about it on the Sonic 2 episode, but it's not what you'd think for like Sky Chase, you know, chasing after Eggman, but it paints this sort of image of like, you know, this is a lovely little trek through the sky right before the final battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. The calm before the storm.
So, this is the interesting part about this. This isn't like massively theorized, but some people suggest that this might have been originally for a winter level. Because there was Brenda Ross, like one of the people working on the game, did mention there was going to be a winter level. Some have suggested it might have been Rock World, but we don't know for sure. We've seen a little concept art.
Yeah. Hi guys, Cyberlink here with a fun little update of sorts. As it turns out, a while after we recorded this, the Video Game History Foundation put out this really fantastic video going in depth about all the cut Sonic 2 stages, actually finding some new information we didn't know about before. One of those things was actually getting their hands on a VHS from Brenda Ross herself that she used for her portfolio, showing a bunch of art and assets and stuff that she produced during her Sega days. And among all of these assets was actually a simple mock-up of this winter level we were just talking about. It was actually very similar to that same desert mock-up we've all seen a billion times, but with a different color palette and all the cacti replaced with Christmas trees. There's no indication how much further the level made it into production, but it's just exciting that even to this day we're still learning new things about this game and what could have been. So please definitely check out the video. It's super cool. We made sure to link to it in the show notes. And while you're at it, at the time this is releasing, the VGHF is in the middle of its big winter fundraiser. They do amazing preservation work and have announced some really incredible initiatives for the coming year. So if you got a few bucks to spare, maybe chip in a little on their donation page, help enable them to continue doing cool stuff like this. Anyway, back to the episode.
And I think when we listen to the demo version, you're going to hear those winter vibes.
I mean, I already kind of get the winter vibes from the Mega Drive version, but now you've got me curious. Let's give that a look.
There it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ding dong, ding
Cannot
dong.
beat the Christmas allegations.
I'm gonna have to actually add this to my winter playlist now.
Yeah, put that up with Diamond Dust.
Exactly. Right up there with Snowden.
Yeah, there's there is this level, there's not very good copy of it, but there is some concept art of a level with Christmas trees in the background. What would have been the first ice level for Sonic if it made it in, and I could see this a wintry night. Oh,
Yeah, this is bringing me right back to our Winter Zone discussion.
I just got a flashback. I have no idea where this image came from, but I remember finding this image of Sonic just inside his house, all cozy, reading
Yes.
yeah, outside in the snow, his tail's just looking in.
From the Sonic the Screensaver / Sega's internal magazine. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Magazine, and
I know exactly the one you're talking
he's
about.
cold. Let him
Your
in.
tail's got a bit too big for his britches that night.
Yeah.
Aw. Tails sort of
Christmas tree.
staring inside like another Sonic character. Moving on.
We're
Yeah.
not going back.
Back to the past.
No, we're going forward to the Wing Fortress Zone.
Now this is absolutely a King's Quest track.
Oh, yes.
All right, Air Force cadets, Sonic's on his way. You know what to do. Shoot those eggs.
By the way, I love how I've been so eager to get on this Sonic podcast. I literally proceed to compare this to every other video game under the sun. I am
there
so
are
sorry.
comparisons to be made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing exists in a bubble.
Except for Sonic in that one.
You beat me to it.
in a certain 8-bit game.
I knew I belonged here.
Yeah, like I don't even need to hear the demo version to hear like all of the horns and the big snare and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I am too. Let's give it a listen.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, Space Force cadets.
I was gonna say.
The Mega Drive track and the demo track are 1-to-1. Like there's no question.
What do you even say about this? It's just that.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like-
I love this.
Really good.
It's the end credits theme to a Raiden game.
Oh wow, that's a bold one.
This had the same tempo as the Mega Drive version. This would be a great shmup battle theme.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
here's your
saying.
first boss. Managed to get to the second level of Xevious.
Like there is something like really, heroic and there's some finality to it. Like I feel like this would play during the medal ceremony from Star Wars Episode 4.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
yeah.
this feels like you getting promoted within a military game or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And then something awful happens.
Yeah. Oh no, a tornado.
It's carrying a car.
No, the tornado.
Andros is attacking again.
But this is the game with the death egg in it, so
Yep.
I'm thinking like when he was like composing this like a music master was like, I can borrow a little bit from John Williams as a treat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only fair John Williams stole from everyone else.
Touche.
I've heard some of those.
Speaking of the death egg,
Oh, the one you hear for about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
This always suggested to me that the death egg was going to be a bigger level. In fact, there is concept art of like a whole like space level, so that was the death egg. So,
And once again, like, the thematic linking between this track and the previous one, you can hear in this sort of semi-dissonant melody.
yeah.
like this definitely does fit a space-themed stage, although like obviously the Sonic 3 Death Egg track is going to stick more in my mind just because I've heard it a lot more.
Yeah, you got to spend some time in that level before you had to fight the bosses.
And what I dig about this is that it gives sort of like dystopian vibes, whereas like in the last track you had this very like triumphant and like militaristic like theme going on that you could see in like a sort of like dystopian future sort of story. Here you have a more sinister, techno-y rendition of that same theme, where it's sort of giving you a hint at, oh wait, there's something else going on here. Like, in case there was any shadow of a doubt that Eggman is up to no good.
Yeah, there's an interesting contrast where, you know, kind of the backing track feels a lot more kind of sinister to it, while this main melody is very kind of almost whimsical. The sort of thing you hear if you're free floating in space, not a care in the world, bouncing on the moon.
You're right.
It's almost like a parody of itself.
Yeah, it creates a weird sort of back and forth between the two tracks.
Sorry, I don't want to get dragged down by one point, but when Griffin was like, oh yeah, just in case there was any other doubt that Eggman was up to something. Yeah, he just built a giant space station with his face on it, but you know, it's not like, I'm getting the feeling there's something up about this guy now.
Listen, the man went out of his way to create a theme park in orbit. I think he may be on the up and up. I don't know about you.
Let's see if the demo track is on the up and up.
You know? No, and I'm getting major Star Fox vibes. From
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
It sounds like a MIDI person singing.
Yeah, it's
A
one of
little
those
bit.
like synth voices. I quite like it.
Yeah.
It's 8-bit Hatsune Miku. Well, no, 16-bit Hatsune Miku.
Hey, that's that Sega connection.
I mean, listen, she just finished the Pokemon collab. Who's to say this one isn't next?
Well, she's done a little with Sonic before, but you know,
That's true.
I mean, God, imagine that's the next song she brings out, like Death Egg Zone by Hatsune Miku.
She's already got the Sonic hoodie.
Yeah, there you go.
Gosh. I'm sorry, I just got the image now in my head of, like, instead of her pigtails, like, the laser wings from Supreme poking out of her head.
Oh my god. Yeah, I like this one. This definitely has like that sort of creepy space station vibe to it.
Yeah.
Like I definitely feel like this wouldn't be out of place in, say, something like a Jet Force Gemini or something. The horns maybe sound a bit out of place, I will admit, compared to the rest of the track.
I wonder if this song just trying to bring back that sort of what was going on in Wing Fortress with the horns, maybe.
Maybe.
Like continuing the theme a little. And Star Warsing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep the Death Egg train rolling with the final boss theme.
Step boy.
It's your pants time.
Gotta wait for that very precise window.
Yeah, this is more in tune with the kind of stuff that was going on in Sonic 1 with the pace of this track. But
A little bit, yeah.
It fits this boss.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, that's kind of thematically appropriate, because when you go from the beginning of Sonic 1, which again, like, comparatively speaking, was smaller in scale, to this giant space station with a giant robot, it makes sense that you would want to bring back some themes from the original game to sort of emphasize this is where your journey started and this is what it's culminated to.
Yeah.
And you know what else? Now I think about it, I haven't thought about this before. It's got that Imperial March vibe.
Oh,
A
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Like, specifically the percussion.
Yeah.
I really like that, like, warning sound synth.
I could not imagine this track without it.
That playing as you realise what you're getting yourself into, it's like, oh no. It's great.
But we're going to jump forward to hear the demo version of this track, which should be equally imperial, let's say.
Oh,
Did not expect the string section.
Yeah, I feel like, I feel what it's trying to go for, but I think that the instrument choice, the MIDI instruments are just not really doing it any huge favors in that department.
I have to agree. Like, again, it's not like it's bad or anything. It's just like that softness of the main melody there is sort of like not matching the overall theme, or rather the mood of the theme.
It works more as a theme for a character than it does like the oh shit is the giant robot theme that it actually is in the game.
Yeah, it feels like it needs a little more oomph somehow.
Yeah, like I think you hit it right on the nose, Chris. This is more like the theme of like if you had a character in a game where like you were friends with them at one point, but then it culminated to like, oh, we're on opposite ends of this now and we have to fight.
Yeah, like the Sonic Bible story of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, yeah.
It all comes back.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that, and this also, yeah, again, a little more Imperial Marchy when you put it like this. But I do think it's fully realized in the Mega Drive version.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But assuming you actually beat this thing, which is not an easy feat, you might hear a song that should sound a little familiar for fans of a certain group. I'm sorry, but I can't hear this without hearing the lyrics from Sonic Shits 2. The fans are quite dismayed. The real 8's been delayed.
Damn.
This is obviously we mentioned before in our Sonic 2 episode that this was like a gift essentially from Masato Nakamura. It's like, this is our new big showstopper song, and you get it as the ending theme, and
Yeah.
God, it's a hell of a ballad, this.
Like, again, very rock opera.
Mm-hmm. It's just a real ass song, and I know they're coming up on here, but I love the original versions.
It's so good.
I feel like it would be hard to translate a, real ass song to the Genesis sound chip and make it sound good, but they pulled it off.
Oh yeah. And it is the theme of Tails looking up into the sky and realizing what he must do and flying up to catch Sonic, and beautifully timed.
I'm almost getting like MacArthur Park vibes from this.
I could hear that, yeah.
Yeah, like someone left their cake out in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in my case, I hear the Weird Al version first, but
I mean, me too. Not gonna lie, me too.
I didn't recognize who that was until you sung that little bit, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. My base knowledge of pop music was wholly inspired by Weird Al. I heard the parodies first, and then like, I wonder what this is based on. And
yeah,
me too.
like I heard Amish Paradise before Gangster's Paradise. I heard like Achy Breaky Song before Achy Breaky Heart.
Look, as a as a young little Christian kid who only listened to a local Power 88 station, that is exactly how it went for me too.
Exactly.
It's like, oh yeah, Weird Al, he doesn't say swears. Wait, all this is real music?
God.
Wait, what was it really about? This isn't about food. This is about fucking.
this isn't about surgery. This is also about fucking.
Why is the real Bohemian Rhapsody so slow?
Where's the accordions?
We really are going back to the 90s for this
A
episode.
little bit.
I mean, it was inevitable.
Yep. Speaking of going back to the 90s, let's listen to the demo version, which is, it's the demo version, but it's not the original version, let's say.
No, it's not.
It's a weird in between.
Yep.
Arrangements. Yeah, they love those trumpets in this one. In this
Yeah.
soundtrack,
Really do.
I've noticed.
Masato Nakamura spent a lot of time in Hoenn.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know what it was. Like, when it came to, like, the jump between consoles, like, every single, like, video game that I came across at that age just had all the fake trumpets put in for whatever reason.
I think it's a case of, like, a lot of these original tracks were written with real instruments in mind, and in a lot of cases those were trumpets, but we're so used to the synthesized sound from the chips
The
that
bleeps and bloops.
they just didn't read that way in our mind until years later when they started, like, doing arrangements of the songs.
But this lead trumpet is, of course, like kind of the theme of Sonic throughout this. So it's like taking the love song that this originally was and making it about a blue hedgehog, which I approve of. I had that sort of love for Sonic the Hedgehog growing up.
Again, theme of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, this is, as you said, a show-stopping number. Like, this is, like, before you get the cast lining up to bow.
Yeah.
Like, it's a perfect way to send things off for the final cutscene. No demo version because it's just the medley.
Again, a little original melody to begin with, though, that lasts for a few seconds.
Yeah. I like how it mixes up the order.
I do like the staff rolls that have little bits of songs from the game. I don't know. Just
Yeah, it's like a best of sort of compilation.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things they brought back for Generations. That really felt like that brought the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard the Generations version so many times that we were listening just now to the Sonic 1 staff roll. I hear Green Hill and I expect to go into Chemical Plant, and I'm a little, like, weirded out when it doesn't.
Exactly, that emotional whiplash.
There's that Hidden Palace theme. Further emphasizing that these were all supposed to be, part of the main lineup of stages itself.
Crouching Hedgehog, Hidden Palace.
Ah, look out, Tails are back.
They've got fruit pastels, watch out!
Oh no!
Hey, Oil Ocean. Oh, wait. I mean, when you listen to the order now, God, that's... Yeah.
Yeah.
The order wasn't the same in the Sonic 1 medley, unless those also got shifted around, so...
Yeah, maybe. Well, actually, I think they did, because I think Labyrinth Zone was going to be at, like, the second level in the original version of the game. Can you imagine?
I choose not to.
God, that nice little percussion breakdown.
Yes.
Little rolls.
Yeah, with the last staff credits roll and then this one, I like the fact that they use the drums as a transition between songs because it's just like a really solid way to keep tempo or change tempo and then go back into the melody.
And that is Sonic 2. Almost. Not quite, because there is still one unused song.
We're on the home stretch.
Ah, yes, loading up sound tests and, like, listening to all the songs from the game and then being like, wait, what? This little fella.
I remember people being genuinely angry that this wasn't used in Hidden Palace officially.
Because lots of people assume that for years, like, oh, so Hidden Palace, the one scrap level we know about, that it was for that, right? But no.
Here's the funny thing about this. Like, I mean, yes, it has a bit of a, like, beat to it, but the melody itself almost sounds like something from a traditional, like, fantasy RPG. Like,
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. Taking it back to, adventure games as we have, like, I feel like this belongs in Loom.
a little bit.
But yeah, like, our understanding is that this was actually intended for a cutscene. So, listening to it, I can hear it, but I'm eager to see how it sounds in the demo to see if that also kind of tracks. So let's give that a look-see.
I love the sparklies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, again, this is just like the title screen for a fantasy game.
Or it's like you freed the old wizard entombed in crystal, and now he chooses to empower you with this new ability, blah, blah, blah.
Seek out these 4 crystals, each imbued with the power of one of the elements.
Here is the map. Where do you wish to go?
These are the faces of evil.
Squadala, we're off.
Golly.
I guess that's worth a kiss, huh? Ha! I won!
I do like this though. Like, you're right that this would fit perfectly in like a fantasy setting.
See the way it ends?
Yeah, getting very Final Fantasy near the end.
Yeah, dropping out after the first loop. But now that is all of Sonic 2.
Woo!
We did it.
Yeah, we certainly did. And like, now having heard all of these demo tracks, I have both a lot more appreciation for the tracks as a whole, kind of seeing where a lot of them came from, but also more appreciation for how they sound on the Mega Drive, just kind of seeing how they progressed from those demos to the final version, and just how those demos got shaped into 2 absolutely iconic soundtracks that video games would not be the same without.
Absolutely. And again, it's given me a new appreciation for just the creative process in general, because like, as we've discussed, like a lot of the key concepts behind a lot of the levels, like most assuredly went through a bunch of different drafts. And so seeing how the different drafts of the accompanying music must have changed in order to fit those changes, it's something very interesting to think about, because again, I found myself almost preferring some of the demo drafts over the final cuts in some cases. And so it just makes me stop and think, what if, when it comes to a handful of them, and what they could have like changed potentially in terms of the overall themes and like vibes of certain Sonic levels going forward.
It just makes me wonder if Masato was playing Sonic 2, ready to hear his new soundtrack. It's like, wait a minute, that was meant for a desert level. What are you doing, lads?
Oh God.
It just makes me glad that this like exists, period, and was archived so well, and that this like album exists at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it's a good combination of like the fact that Nakamura owns these, like, or like still owns the rights to these, and also still has a relationship with Sega to where they could put this out and feature these. Sega's pretty cagey with like behind the scenes stuff. I feel like it's only recently we've started to, or the most of our knowledge on behind the scenes stuff is unofficial and comes from people like rescuing documents and digging into ROMs. And I'm just glad this is out there and fairly easily accessible.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This was my time. This is my first time hearing a lot of these demos. I think I heard maybe a couple of these in a previous episode we did, but I feel the same way in regards of like, it's really cool to listen to these because you get to hear that progression from a demo to the full product, and you get to appreciate the musical process much more and learning like what gets enhanced, what gets cut, what gets switched around. It's really cool to see these comparisons back and forth.
Absolutely. And I know I've gone through that personally a few times, like during my time as a professional musician, where I would be in like the booth with like the mixer, and the rest of the guys in the band, and just thinking what needs to be redone, what needs to be tweaked a little bit to maybe help emphasize this part of the song, or who needs a little more representation, and just it always gives me an immense amount of joy because on top of the other things I do, I also occasionally do like audio engineering stuff. And so just hearing these sorts of like source files, as it were, and just letting the imagination run wild as to what the series of events could have been to result in the final product, it just makes me endlessly fascinated.
It's just fun to think, like, some of the most iconic Sonic songs that we've ever heard were just was one guy dinking around on a keyboard. and look what came of it, man. It's fantastic.
I mean, here's the thing. If we can get, like, a full hour-plus video essay on the, like, Roblox oof, why can't we get it on some of these things?
know, yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
We need the information, Sega. So someone needs to seek it out, because to this day, people are still theorizing as to everything that came behind Sonic 2. Even after all the stuff that came out about the time travel stuff, there's still so much we don't know about this little game. Like, Sonic 1, plenty, but Sonic 2, it's an eternal mystery.
Which is why I'm announcing our new initiative to hold Mark Cerny at gunpoint and force him to tell us all of the Sonic 2 secrets.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, what
man,
happened in that little Los Angeles office?
Yeah.
I want some of the
interrupted.
drama.
Yeah, what happened in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened.
Yuji Naka, insider trading, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, that brings us to the end of our discussion. Griffin, thank you so much for joining us. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'm legit honored to be able to join in on not only the fun, but also just the conversations in general. Like, I can't express how much fun I had being here with you guys. And if at all possible, I'd love to be back again sometime.
For sure.
yeah, definitely.
Care to plug your socials while you're here?
Absolutely. If I can find them, because I can never really remember all these things. I will say, if you want to check out some of my video content, because I will occasionally do video essays and song covers, you can find me at youtube.com/CyberneticPinkeye. And if you want to find me on multimedia, you can find me over at twitter.com/cpinkeye. I don't care what everyone else is calling it these days. Yeah, that's about the long and short of it. Thanks again for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to bring you back so we can hear more of your unpopular opinions on things.
Hell yeah, this guy knows.
I'm in at least one of those videos watching you suffer, so I feel pretty good about myself.
You've been in a handful.
It's true.
But speaking of socials, you can find me on different social medias as Rock the Jake, and you can find me on Twitch as Mr. Rock the Jake.
You can find me on various social media platforms at Cyberlink420.
And you can find me around the internet under the name Game Buddy, sometimes with a 123, including Blue Sky now. And you can still find me on Twitter at Great Job Jeremy.
And you can find me all across the internet on even more social media platforms as before, as we all get on our lifeboats and try to squirrel ourselves to safety. That's at Falero. That's FAULERRO.
Love that jingle. And in this very musical and wonderful episode, of course, we thank Amy Waters for the use of our theme song from the album Gotta Go Slow. You can check out more of her work on YouTube and Bandcamp, and you can find her on the socials as Amy Waters. We also ask you to remember to please subscribe, review, share, etc. Any way that we can get this podcast out, because, you know, we do all sorts of fun things on here. We have a fanfic episode one week, and then we have a listening party another week, and then we just do all sorts of crazy cool things, and it'd be cool to be able to share this with more people. So please do that.
Do it for the kids.
Yes, do it for the kids. And speaking of the kids, our next episode is going to be about the... well, I guess it's not brand new at the time anymore, but Sonic Superstars, the newest classic Sonic game in that 3D, 2D space kind of thing.
God, that's going to be our first episode of the new year, by the way. I just remembered where we are on the schedule, and as we close out 2023 with everything that happened, we're going to talk about something that happened at the end of 2023. That's Sonic Superstars, a new classic game that I'm rather looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Superstars and to our discussion thereof. I think it's going to be a good time.
Most definitely. But I believe that will wrap us up for this episode.
And this year!
And this year.
And for this year, yes. Thank you.
Happy New Year soon, everyone.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to take a moment. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us throughout 2023. I feel like the quality and just the fun levels of the podcast went up even more than it did last year, and I'm so looking forward to what the podcast has for us in 2024. And please, again, share this around. Please join us, and we're just going to have a whole lot of fun in the new year.
Yeah, we've got some plans.
Oh boy.
I cannot wait.
Thank you for supporting us in our first full, actual, complete year of the podcast.
Yeah.
Wild that we're still doing this, but it turns out we really like talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. We have problems.
I love learning about Sonic the Hedgehog, so there we go.
Look, let's be real. It's just filling time until we finish all the plans for our all Diddy Kong Racing podcast series.
Yes!
I'm going to hold you to that.
But I have been Roth the Jake.
I'm Cyberlink.
I'm Game Buddy.
I'm Falero.
And I'm CyberneticPinkeye.
Boo-hoo-hoo! Robotnik created the perfect woman, but forgot to waterproof her!
God, I know that's right.
Oh boy.
This has been The Hill is Always Greener, and we will see you on the other side of 2024.
2024!
Yeah!
I need to waterproof the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.